Uh, okay, I can move around. All right. Yeah, sure. Good morning. Oh, good morning. All right. So I'm Isaac Amankwa Anane. Yeah, you can mix the name Isaac Anane Amankwa. Anyway, Amankwa is a middle name. That's why I have it in the middle. And I'm a software engineer. Yeah, that's all. I'm a software engineer. So maybe if you want to know more, you can ask later on. But I'm a software engineer. That's what I do mostly. I do other things as well. So this year at DevCongress, just like Blossom mentioned, we are talking about AI and security. And one thing I've observed over the years with my little experience in engineering, that security has always been an afterthought in most of the cases. That people plan architecture, they move straight or they throw themselves straight into writing code, and security comes after someone has tried to hack their system. And with the introduction of AI, it makes the problem so worse. Yeah, AI is good, but there are a lot of problems that it comes with. So today, we are going to look at a popular framework called the Trust but Verify framework. And in this coding, sorry, in this age of AI, we're going to look at how we can code securely. Right. So this is my friend, and he's part of the ecosystem. He's called Alex. Yeah, let's just give him that name. And he is the president of Vibe Coders Association of. Yeah. So here is Alex. He has left a prompt for his AI assistant to build an app for him, and he is chilling. He's having the best time of his life. Right. And just 2 weeks ago, Alex was tasked to build or implement a login feature on one of their services. And Alex wants to be very productive, so he has hired his AI assistant to help him. So he left the code or the task for the AI to do. He went to chill. He came back and everything was done. So all he had to do was, well, if it's done, let's just deploy. So he went live. They tested, everything worked fine, and they all went to sleep. 2 days later, he got a call from the information security team that there has been a breach on the system. Then they had to go back and investigate and find out how the breach occurred. The president here could not identify the issue, and after they found the issue, it was 1 week, and there has been a lot of revenue that had been lost because they had to shut down the system. But they couldn't let it continue. Now, in my presentation today, we are going to look at what Alex did wrong, what he could have done better, so that we can all learn from that. Right? So, if you can move on. Right. So we are going to talk about the golden rule, the trap, the stats. We look at some few stats, and then the action that we need to take or we can learn together. So we need to treat AI code like an input from an untrusted user. Over the time, what I've realized is that people have delegated the entire task of engineering to AI models. But one thing that we need to understand is that AI, yes, is very fast, which is one major problem that we have as software engineers. Yeah, we are slow. Yeah, even if you type faster, I cannot type faster than the AI. So that is one aspect. And so AI has eliminated that problem. So now you can say software engineers are very productive. But there's a problem that AI cannot solve. Maybe at this time it cannot. It's thinking about the security aspect of it. It is so concerned about getting you an efficient code or a code that runs faster, but does not consider the security aspect of it. Why? Because it does not have enough context on what exactly you want to build. And so if you delegate the entire task of, let's say, a senior dev to the AI model, then you are breaking, or you yourself, you are becoming the vulnerability. Hello. The moment you delegate your entire task, which includes the architecture and the implementation to AI, then you become the vulnerability because AI becomes a senior engineer, you become the junior dev. But one thing that we need to see is that the AI agent is rather the junior dev here. And so we need to treat that code from an untrusted user. So if you're a senior engineer here, whenever there is a PR from your junior dev, you take your time to go through to make sure that that writing has been done, right? But the moment the role flips when it comes to AI, then you can think of it like you being the junior dev and the junior dev being the senior dev. There becomes a problem. So the golden rule here that we need to take away is that we need to treat code from AI like an input from an untrusted user. And in this case, it could be a junior dev. The trap here is that most often we think functional correctness is the same as security, but that is not true. The code might function as expected, but does not mean it is secure. Just like I said, the AI doesn't have context as to what you want to do. So it will just give you code that runs, that gets the work done, but it might not be secured. And then there was some study that was done by Veracode. Veracode, they have this platform or tool that analyzes code, mostly security, right? A similar one is SonarQube, if you've heard of SonarQube before. So they did a study last year, 2025, and they found out that 45% of AI-generated code contains vulnerabilities. And it might not be necessarily something that is maybe explicitly stating that this is vulnerability, but at the end, if you go through the code or you review the code, you find out that there are vulnerabilities in there. Right. That's the stats out there. And the action is that we need to implement a senior review policy for all AI generated PRs. Right. So just like I said, from Alex's situation, we are going to analyze 3 scenarios or 3 real world problems. This is from my interaction with AI some time ago. So when I had a chance to speak here, I said, let me go back and get that code so that I'll show it here. So we will look at one Python, one JavaScript, and I think there's another one for C# that I came across so that we can look at that. So here we needed a script that would remove user logs. And this is what the AI gave me. And the funny thing about this is, yeah, sure, I'll generate an optimized version of this code for you. And this is what it gave me. To the AI, this is the optimized version. This is the best performing one. But there's a problem here. Who can identify the problem for us? Yes, it's deleting the user logs. It gets your username and it looks for your log and deletes. Can someone tell the problem in this code? Anyone? No answer is wrong. Okay. Let me give a clue. So, my name is Isaac. Maybe that, yeah. Delete all log files. Right. Okay. He's deleting all log files. Yeah. Okay. Because of this. Right. That's a good observation. Yeah. Any other? You're right. Then there is another one. I'm Isaac, right? So if I pass my username as Isaac, it will obviously delete Isaac's files. But what if I'm the admin? Or Isaac goes to pass the username of an admin or the root user. Then you end up deleting everything from the system, right? So yes, it is functionally right, but security-wise, there's a flaw. So it is up to you as a software engineer to verify this, which is the framework we're talking about. For you to find out that, yes, it is deleting, but do we have the right checks in place to ensure that our system is secure? Please, are we on the same page? Please, let's move on to the next one. I have only 15 minutes, so pardon me. Right, the second scenario we're going to look at is what I refer to as the hallucinated dependency. This is a major problem that we've come to find from AI, that the AI models tend to hallucinate whenever it's overdoing or it does not actually know what to do. And one thing that I've realized is that, yes, if you don't, let's say you don't have any idea what you want to do, you just want to vibe code like Alex. You give it to Alex to build. Because you have no idea of what the AI is doing, all you need is an app. It ends up installing some packages that do not exist. So if you've used and come across that, you will notice that the AI includes a model. It installs it, but when you download or you put the code onto your machine and you try to install, to tell you that this package does not exist. Right? Has anyone come across that problem before? Right. Now, it looks like it's something on the surface. It does not exist. I just remove it and it goes. But the actual problem with this is there is something they call, I've forgotten the term, but now what the hackers are doing is that they've identified that AI has problem with hallucination or hallucinates. So now what they do is that they also build packages that mimic the behavior. They just, so in this case, it gave me this package, React Fast Sort Utils. Here the naming looks so fine, like it works. I tried to sort it, everything is fine, the code looks clean. But what happens, or how a hacker can get access to your platform or your system, is that they build a similar package filled with malware. Then, since the AI is just looking for a package with that name, it installs it for you. Then you go to your production environment. But the package you've installed contains malware. And once it's on your system, they can sniff data and do a lot of things on there. Please, are we on the same page? So even though it looks like, yeah, it's wrong, I can correct it. That you can only correct it if you verify. But if you are blindly following like Alex, then you will end up pushing this to production, which will cause a lot of problem. So that is the hallucination dependency issue with the AI. It tends to import things that do not exist. Please, we can move on to the next scenario. The last one that I want to show is the hard-coded secrets. So just like I said, when you give, so this is some small C# code. It's just trying to connect to the DB. And after the code is generated, or the code was generated, this is how it presented it. Now, if I have no idea, or I don't go over to check what it has done, I'm going to end up pushing this to production. Even though it has the password and everything in there, you end up pushing this to get to your server. And we all know the problem with this, because the AI does not even understand the environment you are running in, whether you are in your test environment or you're in production. It just wants to generate the code for you, a functioning code. So it's up to you to ensure that you move this into your EMV so that your system is a little bit more secured, right? So that is another issue with hard-coded secret. You can go on to the next one. Now, to the framework, or how we can avoid this particular problem. The first one, we are saying that we need to validate our inputs. One war that is still going on is between front end and back end, is who validates what. Oh, front end should validate. Oh, back end should validate. So you see, oh, the front end has, but then I don't have to validate. Yeah, it's something that is ongoing. Now the AI also learned of that war, is like I also join it. So whenever the AI writes the code, like I mentioned earlier on, it does not have enough context as to what you want to do. It just wants to generate a functioning code for you. So it goes on to generate without implementing the validations. So if you do not verify and you go on to push the code, then your system goes out there and people can put in anything. So imagine it's a front end that you, or a login form that you asked the AI to build. There was an issue where a guy generated the code, then there was an input validation that was not done, which allowed users to be able to write some scripts, even in the form. And once that is saved, any other people, like any other person who goes onto that platform, it's able to hijack their session, extract some cookies from it, and you know what that can happen, or how can do. So input validation is very necessary. Yes, we are not saying don't use AI, use it. It helps you become productive, but the responsibility lies on your shoulders to verify that whatever the AI has generated is right. The second one we'll talk about is secret hygiene. Scan for hard-coded keys, like we just saw. If the AI wrote a connection string, it's probably insecure, right? So you ensure that you move everything into your EMV. There is dependency. Does the package exist? We talked about the hallucination problem. Logic and context. Does the code make sense for our architecture? Like I mentioned, the code might be, most of the time, the code that AI generates, they are mostly of O of n squared. It works perfectly, but in your system, is that what you want to happen? Is that what you want to do based on the architecture that you have? Because based on architecture, an implementation you think might be, oh, this is O of n squared, this is very bad performing, but it fits in the architecture because that is how the system has been designed. So you need to ensure that the code that has been generated fits into the logic and the context. The last one we talk about is the automated security. Don't trust your eyes. use static application security system. I mentioned Veracode. There's another one called SonarQube. So if you want to write proper code with AI, then also ensure that you have a system that is going to scan for some of these issues so that you fix them before it enters your production environment. Please, we can move on to the next one. Yeah. So in conclusion, say AI writes the draft, humans edit the final copy, not the other way around. So that is it, and can move on to the last one. Yeah, I have 1 minute left for question and answers. Yeah, please, if you want to reach me, you can scan the QR code. Yeah, any question before we end? Right.
I'm not a pro.
Right. Sure.
Here.
Okay.
And I'm very potential. I'll miss a ton of the things you just said because I don't have a car. I just want those things.
Right.
What would be advice to someone like who's still using AI?
Well, so that's a good question. You're just using AI to code. That is where the last part comes in, where we have other tools that are going to. Please, we can go back to the previous slide. The other one. Yeah, the last five. The fifth one. So we have other systems. There are also AI systems, but they review code. So it helps you with even code smells. There are some people, they write variable names and even they themselves, they come back. One time I was reviewing a code, the guy was using mango equal to, I'm like, what is mango? And then apple, and yeah, so you can have some of these tools. Some of them are free. I don't know the free ones yet, but some of them are free. You can have them sit between your code or your repositories and the production environment so that they do the review for you. Since you have, so whenever the review comes out, you can send it back to the model to implement those ones for you. So that is what I can say. You're welcome. Yes, sir.
So using project I use for the
Right.
I have skills I rely on to helping with this. Do you have any skills and or I don't know if you use skills. So skills in the project system is a set of MD file
Right.
where you I can write my code and I'll code the skill that this kind using this skill analyze the code and you have code review
Right.
It's a lot of skills. I don't know if you come across skills anyone can recommend or any skill.
Right. I think I've come across one. I might have to check again. I've come across one. And yeah, if you can still do that, and it's way better than going raw, like chatting with the model, like the model itself to give you the code, which is better. But let's take note of one thing, that the models were built without security in mind. They were built for performance and functionality. So the way as a software engineer, you think about how this system is going to conform to that CI tribe, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This guy is just thinking about functionality. So even though you have the skills that you attach to it, let's ensure that we always verify before it gets to production. But with the skills, I'll check and then I'll share that with you. Okay. All right. Thank you.